You've heard it a million times, right? Drink 8 8-ounce glasses of water a day. It's the famous 8 by 8 rule. But what if I told you that this piece of advice, this thing we've all been told for decades, is just plain wrong? Yeah, not just a little off, but based on a huge misunderstanding. So where did this rule even come from? And more importantly, what does the real science say? Let's dive in and find out. All right, welcome to Insight Inferno. In this episode, we are going to take a sledgehammer to one of the most stubborn health myths out there. We're going to follow the science step by step to get to the bottom of what your body really needs to stay hydrated. And trust me, the answer might surprise you. So let's just cut to the chase. Do you really need to be chugging down those 8 glasses every single day? Is that 64-ounce target some kind of medical magic number? Or is it just a myth that's been repeated so many times we all just started believing it? Okay, to really get this, we've got to go back. Way back. Now, the idea that water is good for you is, ancient stuff. But the specific 8 glasses rule, it's actually way more recent, and its origin story is a classic case of getting the facts totally mixed up. So people have been hyping up water since like the 1800s. But our modern myth, that really kicks off in 1945 with a big recommendation. But here's the crazy part. It wasn't until 2002, that's almost 60 years later, that Dr. Heinz Walton published this big paper in the American Journal of Physiology. And he basically just asked, hey, where's the proof for this rule? A simple question that nobody had really asked. And this is it. This is the number that started the whole thing. Back in 1945, the U.S. Food and Nutrition Board recommended about 2.5 liters of fluid a day. Now, that's roughly the same as 8 glasses, so you can see where the idea came from. But, and this is a huge but, there was a catch. And right here, this is the smoking gun. This is the sentence that everybody, and I mean everybody, seems to have missed. The guideline went on to say that most of this fluid is already in the food we eat. Think about that. Just let that sink in. That one little sentence completely changes the game. Okay, so if the water in our food counts, then what about other things we drink, right? This brings us to another massive myth. You know the one I'm talking about. The idea that some drinks, like coffee, actually make you less hydrated. Yeah, we've all heard it. Coffee, tea, even beer are diuretics, so they're gonna dry you out. Don't let them count towards your water goal. Well, guess what? The science just doesn't back that up. The truth is, the fluid in pretty much every beverage you drink, yep, including your morning coffee, counts towards your total. And hey, don't just take my word for it. Listen to Dr. Tamara Hugh-Butler from Wayne State University. She points out that, yeah, you might have to pee more after a big coffee, but it's not because of some magical diuretic effect. It's because you just drank a bunch of liquid. Simple as that. And let's circle back to that lost sentence for a second. You can literally eat your water. It's a real thing. Dr. Joseph Verbalis over at Georgetown University says that if you're eating lots of things with high water content, we're talking soups, fresh fruit, yogurt, you're often getting plenty of hydration without ever having to force down extra glasses of water. So all of this really points to a much bigger, much cooler idea. Your body is incredibly smart. It has this amazing built-in system for managing hydration all on its own. You don't need some rigid external rule because you already have a brilliant one working inside you 24/7. And it turns out how you drink your water really matters. Dr. Evan Johnson at the University of Wyoming talks about something called the bolus response. Basically, when you just chug a huge amount of water at once, your body kind of freaks out. It thinks it's being flooded, so it just flushes a whole bunch of it right out as urine before you can even absorb it. But if you sip slowly through the day, especially with food, your body can actually hang on to it and use it effectively. So how does your body even know it's time to drink? Well, it's constantly checking something called blood osmolality. It sounds complicated, but it's just the concentration of salt and other stuff in your blood. When you start to get a little dehydrated, that concentration goes up. And bing! Your brain gets the signal. It releases some hormones, and suddenly you feel thirsty. It's this super precise automatic feedback system. But what if you ignore that amazing system? What if you just blindly follow a rule and drink way, way too much water? Well, you can actually run into a really dangerous, though rare, condition called hyponatremia. That's a fancy word for what happens when you drink so much water that you dilute the sodium in your blood down to dangerous levels. And this isn't just some textbook theory. It's a real risk. There was this tragic case back in 2007 where a 28-year-old woman actually died from what's called water intoxication. She drank about 2 gallons in just 3 hours for a radio contest. Now, that's an extreme case for sure, but it's a terrifying reminder that when it comes to water, more is definitely not always better. So, when you put all this science together, you land on one very clear conclusion. A single rule for how much water everyone should drink is, well, it's just nonsense. It doesn't make any sense because we're all so different. I love how Dr. Hugh Butler puts it. She says the 8 by 8 rule is a one-size-fits-all that doesn't fit all. And that just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It's way too simple for how complex our bodies and our lives actually are. And if you want to see just how wild the differences can be, check this out. This example from Dr. Johnson is incredible. A sugarcane worker in a hot climate might need up to 15 liters of water a day. 15! Now, compare that to someone working in an air-conditioned office. The difference isn't just big, it's absolutely massive. The bottom line is, your personal hydration need is a moving target. It changes based on your activity level, the weather, what you ate for lunch, your body size, your health, everything. There is no way one single number could ever work for everyone all the time. Okay, so we've officially thrown the 8 by 8 rule out the window. So what's the replacement? What should you be doing? Well, the good news is the real answer is so much easier and way more intuitive. You ready for this? The best hydration signal on the planet is the one you already have built in. It's called thirst. For most of us healthy folks, that's it. That feeling is literally your brain giving you a personalized, real-time notification that it's time for some fluids. And hey, if you just want a quick and easy way to check in on yourself, Dr. Lindsay Baker over at the Gatorade Sports Science Institute has a super simple tip, the urine color test. Just take a look. If it's a pale, light yellow, you're golden, good to go. If it's looking dark and more concentrated, that's just your body's way of saying, hey, could use a little more water over here. So let's just forget about the rigid rules, okay? The real takeaway from all of this research is to just trust that amazing supercomputer you were born with. Drink when you feel thirsty. Try to sip instead of chug. Your body has got this. It knows exactly what it's doing. So yeah, you can officially scratch drink 8 glasses of water off your daily to-do list for good. The new rule, if you want to call it that, is way more personal. It's not about counting ounces anymore. The real question is much simpler. Are you listening to your body?